Hello, this is David Murphy, publisher of the National Black Unity News newspaper, and welcome to our podcast. This podcast is being recorded, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you was unable to get the entire broadcast, it will be available tomorrow in the recording. So with that being said, I want to welcome everybody on the call this evening on the National Black Unity News podcast. With that being said, I would like to introduce Brother Andre Hector, who is our new co-host. And welcome to the podcast, my brother.
Thank you for having me, sir. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. Thank you so much. My name is Andre Hector, and I am one of the co-hosts.
All right. And also, we have on the line with us my partner in crime, my partner in turning this world upside down, Mr. Bill Gooden, who's been a soldier for a long time. You know, he's been out there, I ain't going to tell his age, but he's been out there for a long time. And welcome to the call, Mr. Bill Gooden.
You don't have to tell my age. you already said it. You already said I was in jail. You said I'm your partner in crime, so I'm not even free.
Okay. That's all right. That's what we on this call, to try to set the captives free.
Yeah, but anyway, just want to say good evening to everybody.
Good evening. How you doing?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Okay. Okay, good. Gentlemen, guess what now? Like I say, we, Brother Satari and Henri Hector, we talked earlier, and we didn't have what you call, we didn't invite a lot of people on, you know, as guests in it, because we just want to have an open discussion about keeping things real. And we know there's some real situations going on in our communities, real situations that's going on in this country, and real situations that happen to us as a people, black people, melanated people. And we're here to not only discuss some of those things, but we also want to discuss the real deal, because like I say, keeping it real, see, everybody on this phone call has been through the fire, and some of us are still going through it. And there's a lot of hurting people that seem like there's no hope, there's no direction, because there's a concerted effort that's trying to keep us down, especially black people, and very especially black men. And oftentimes in the church, oftentimes in conversations, when you hear a brother speaks from their heart and telling you that what's going on in their particular life sometime, and how they was able to go through certain situations, how they overcame certain situations, then it could be a tool that can encourage you. It can be a tool, even though you went through it, but it can benefit other people. And like I say, each and every brother on here has been through something, but every brother on here also was able to overcome some serious situations in the past and in our current state. And I'm going to start with myself. You know, we bring this podcast on because, number one, is to promote this publication, the National Black Unity News. That's one thing. That's what the show is all about, the National Black Unity News. But it's also, the National Black Unity News is about us as a people. It's a solution-oriented periodical that has solutions to it to help us get out of our situations, or even encourage us to get out of our situations. And my brother Bill on the line, he and I, since the inception of this publication, we've been through a lot. You know, this is our actually our going on. This is closing out, and this is our last issue of the year, and we have published 2 full years of publication and 1 promotional issue. Now, since the inception of this publications, gentlemen, Bill and I have been through a lot of traumas in our life. Like my brother Bill, he can tell you some of the things that happened to him. He lost his wife, his sister, and this brother's been through a lot. And but at the same time, I'm just going to give you just okay. But at the same time, in this same year, this brother published 6 books. You know, and through it all. And I myself, since the inception of the publication, I had some health issues. I had open heart surgery and was in a nursing home for 30 days. And but yet here we are. I'm still standing. Brother Satari had been crisscrossed the country. And this brother, man, you know, been working hard diligently in the Baltimore area, but then he went to New Orleans, and he was that Katrina got him. Then the brother moved to, I'm not laughing, but you know, just how things work out sometimes. Then the brother moved to North Carolina, the flood got him again. So, but he's still standing. And then my new brother Henry Hector, he just coming on board. Me and this brother met through a mutual friend. And this brother told me that, you know, through the mutual friend, we had a conversation. He was telling me about some of the things that he's been through. And since he's our newcomer, and he's a youngster amongst us,
yes,
and I want him to tell his story, just a brief story about some of the things that you've been through, who you are, and why you're doing the things that you're doing today.
Okay, not a problem. Thank you, Mr. Murphy. And thank you to the rest of the crew. The reason why I'm doing this, and the reason why it became so apparent for me to do this, was because a lot of issues happened for me last year. It all started last year, a few months prior to September 2018. I was dealing with myself, some issues, some personal issues, trying to find myself in the Lord, and I started drinking. I felt like that was the solution at the time. Started drinking. I was very depressed, and working at the MTA every night. I would get off and I would go drink, and alone, and just trying to find myself. And I could always just, in a sense, hear the Lord kind of talking to me there, but I felt like it wasn't enough. And one night I was drinking and I blanked out. And obviously, I had on my motorcycle gear when it was all over with. They found me in Columbia. I was 40 feet in a ditch.
Oh.
40 feet in a ditch. That's right, non-responsive. And when they resuscitated me, brought me back, they told me what happened. They sent me to a nearby hospital. And I realized that I could have lost my life. That's right. I realized I could have lost my life. And I was out, you know, I had a fractured back, had messed up my shoulder, my bike was totaled. I caught a DUI. A few months later, the results came back in December. This situation happened to me September the 16th. I'll never forget it. And I started that journey to recovery. And during that time, dealing with myself, just bringing all the pieces together, I realized that, you know, the cause was greater than myself. I realized that I could have lost my life, and what would my children think, losing a father, all because of issues that were never dealt with, issues that I didn't bring to the forefront, all because that I didn't realize where my help was at. So I decided, you know, during my journey to recovery, and I'm fully recovered, thank the Lord, that it was time for me to make a change, not only for a change for myself, but I wanted to share this change because I knew that there were other people out there who are dealing with depression, who are dealing with alcoholism, who are dealing with drugs, addiction, some type of an addiction that we're dealing with. And, you know, I said to myself, if I can just do something and start something, tell my story, wherever I go, just mention it to somebody. And I needed to do it on a page where everybody can know. And I thought about radio. I thought about podcasting and things that I saw. And I'm stepping out on faith and I'm telling my story. And this is why I'm doing this. I'm doing this because there are people out there who are dealing with something. And it takes numbers, a group of people like us who have been in a situation where people need to know that they're not alone and that there is a solution. And it takes a village, not just one. It takes a village. Because at the end of the day, I need you. You need me. We're all part of this family. The Bible is a quote in the Bible, and it says, as iron sharpens iron, so does a friend sharpen a friend. And I figured if I can just sharpen someone, then I've done my job. And this is why I'm doing it.
All right. Thank you, sir. And on that same note, you know, my partner, Bill Gooden, as I just mentioned to you, he wrote several books. And one of those books, because relating to this subject matter, is this. He wrote a book about Out of the Ashes. Brother Bill.
Yes, sir.
You know, like I said, I know you have a long journey. You know, you and I could talk forever, but, you know, briefly explain some of the things that you've been through in the last couple of years and why you wrote those books the way you did it.
Well, you know, first and foremost, man, thank you. But, hey, listen, you can't put me on the spot because it would really take too long to really tell the story, because I was impressed just listening to the young brother talk about his story and, you know, what happened to him and his road to recovery and blah, 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 blah. But, you know what I mean? At 67 years old, first of all, I lost my wife May 27, 2018. She had cancer. You know, for the last 7, 8 months of her life, and I was pretty much her caretaker in terms of just watching her transition and doing what I needed to try to do for her. Then come August the same year, I lost my sister to leukemia. But then, you know, my life just kind of went on a crazy journey, man. I mean, you know, I was going through depression. I mean, I would come in the house, man, and, you know, when I first lost my wife, to be honest, the first couple months I didn't go out the house. I would just lay in the house, man, taking sleeping pills and drinking, just trying to sleep. I didn't want to deal with TV or nothing. I was just trying to either just get over it or either just die, whichever came first. But anyway, you know, that wasn't in the cards for the Creator, so I'm still alive. So I said, let me pick myself up and get out. So, you know, after a couple months, I'm running to a woman I've been known for a long time, man. And the funniest thing is that me and her started dating, and I don't know what happened, man. It's like during that dating process, she was making me feel a whole lot better. I mean, it's crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And so, but then, I mean, you know, it wasn't long. I guess we dated for a couple months. Then she just said, well, I wasn't the guy for her. And then it just kind of really tripped me out and sent me right back to a real depressed state, because she was helping me to heal, and now she dumped me, you know. And, you know, the funniest thing, man, I didn't know how to recover. So I'm back in the house. Well, first of all, I ended up going to casino and lost some money I shouldn't have lost, but that's another story. Whoa. But anyway, so I started coming back in the house, and, man, I would try to sleep, and I couldn't sleep. I mean, I would just couldn't sleep for nothing in the world, even if I took sleeping pills and drinking. So I started writing, and the funniest thing, man, I started writing one night, and it was just to try to write some of my pain and suffering away. But I must have wrote about 20 pages that night. So the next day I got up and started writing again. Couldn't stop, man. So before I know it, I wrote a book in a month's time, 300 pages long. You know what I'm saying? Called Cold Bitch, and excuse the expression, but it's called Cold Bitch not to, you know, say nothing bad about women or nothing, but just to have a title to what I feel that happened to me by a woman that I thought was for me, that really put me through something. And so that was the journey of, you know, how I started writing all these books. Then it was part 1, part 2 came along. And then, you know, it's like, even though I could write, there was a lot of things I couldn't do. Like, you know, I'm not a technical person. So David was there for me to be able to put the pages together, to create the cover of the books, put them together. So I wrote a book called From the Ashes of the Rubble, God Called Us. And his here book was basically about me and Brother David in terms of our journey, because I've been knowing David for about 25, 30 years. So when we came back together a couple years ago through Black Man Unifying Black Man, and then we created a paper, and from the paper and from the situation I was going through, we kind of published this book. So the story is really a book about faith, man, how God used people, because I had no idea when me and David reconnected that we would be doing what we was doing. You know what I'm saying? But it was like God put you there so that everything that I couldn't do, you could do for me to make sure it happened. So, I mean, it's an interesting journey, man. And it's a book that I would recommend to anybody who wants to deal with faith and wants to see how God works, to just read that journey in terms of how this whole process happened.
Okay, fantastic. See, that's what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. No matter what challenges we go through in life, there is hope.
Hi. My name is William Bill Gooden. I am a longtime community activist. I am the editor-in-chief of the National Black Unity newspaper. I am also a founder member of Black Men Unifying Black Men. I have a long history of engagement as it relates to fighting for our people. Sadly, a year ago, I lost my wife due to her battle with cancer. Recently, I have published several novels which deal with relationships. Of course, if there is a victim in the novels, it would be the man character who loves a woman more than she loves him. It is a journey that proves that men hurt just as bad as women when love goes ugly. I have recently put a collection of my wife's memoirs together as a way to acknowledge and honor her legacy. It is with great hope that those of you who will read this, will reach out and get a copy of the books. Please, the one book that is named Cold Bitch is basically for marketing purposes. It is by no means trying to call women bitches, it is just a catchy name, and once one read the story, it will explain itself. Thank you.
Just listening to the brothers who already gave some powerful testimony of how they overcame certain situations, and to me, it's not only, I hate to see anybody go through trauma in their life and drama and all of that stuff, but if you live long enough, it's going to happen. It's how we deal with it.
Right.
We can lay down, we can get down, or we can get back up or step up. And but it takes courage, and sometimes it takes a little help from your friends. It takes a little, and most important, it takes help from God.
That's right.
And that's for me in my house. That's that's what who I look to, towards. But God always sends people around you who has been through many experiences sometime, and they can encourage you. And so, with that being said, because ladies and gentlemen, we brought this subject matter up because of the fact is this: our country, our people are going through drama and trauma right now, and we have to do something about this. We can't sit back and just let things be. We can't let the country stay in a state of, our people stay in a state of depression, because that's what it seems like we're in. After all these years, from the exception of slavery, now way before that, but I'm just saying, since the exception of slavery, we have been in the law. When we came out, all sorts of systems that came up against us, but we are resilient people, and we were able to overcome a lot of things. But now, people study us. People have put plans out there for us. And now, to be quite frank with you, ladies and gentlemen, I like to say, we're going to keep it real. From my perspective, they don't even want us anymore in this country. They don't need us no more. One time we was good for slavery, one time we was good for cheap labor, and one time, to do the little jobs that nobody else wouldn't want to do. But now we have people coming from other countries taking the job that we used to do.
Exactly.
And now, like I say, because of technology, they eliminated a lot of jobs, and then because of politics, whatever you want to call it, politics, whatever they call it, is this, that they sent out for greed. They sent most of our jobs and stuff overseas. And so a lot of industries has closed down. Like here in Baltimore, the steel industry, we had clothing industries and stuff, that has closed down. Manufacturing companies just disappeared. They busted the unions where, they wouldn't give a man fair wages, all kinds of stuff. Brother Sataba, are you able to see if you can go
I'm back
through?
in. Can you hear me, David?
Yeah, see if you can just tell your story. If you see me wave my hand, that means you're having technical difficulties, okay? And then we'll move on.
Okay, all right.
Go ahead and speak.
Yeah. So, like I said, what happened was our daughter was shot by her estranged husband, and when she was shot by her estranged husband, you know, it created all kind of rumors in the community. There was people who had thought that some kind of way something happened between me and him, where it was a drug deal that went bad, and our daughter became collateral damage. I mean, I don't know where they got that from, but anyway, she got shot by her estranged husband, and thank God she survived, even though she's paralyzed and she's in a wheelchair. And so I had shared with my wife, because I was going back and forth to New Orleans, and we was doing the kickoff. We had the kickoff coming up to do 2 after school programs through J.C. Penney, which was called Lights On After School. And so we had one we was going to be doing in New Orleans. And that was going to be my grand reentry back into the city of New Orleans. And the other one that we was doing right here in Baltimore at the Rodno Heights Culture Center. And so we had been gearing up for that. And we still ended up doing the one in New Orleans and also the one at the center. And so then what that led us to was, once our daughter was put in Keranan Hospital and she had a release date coming up, I shared with my wife, I said, you know, hey, it's going to be rough for you to try to push a wheelchair through the snow, cold, and ice in Baltimore, because remind you now, by the time she's getting released, it's January. January 5th. She had gotten shot on November the 6th.
Oh, man.
November 6th, 2004. They rushed her through Keranan. I thought the treatment was going to be longer than what she was, because I had knew a person who had went there, who was a crack addict, who had gotten stabbed like 13 times, and was like, you know, and they took him in and they got him back up around and walking and everything else. That's a side note story. But anyway, so what that did, that put us in a situation where I was able to get with my best friend in New Orleans, who I was staying with off and on when I would come to New Orleans to visit. And me and him, we had ran the NAACP together at the University of New Orleans. I was the president, he was the vice president. And so that enabled us to just say, okay, look, let's just pack up, move to New Orleans, and do what we got to do from there. And things were going along pretty good. You know, we had just found a way to crack the code on the Combined Federal Campaign, which is a lot of people not familiar with that. That's a campaign through the federal government that enables nonprofits to do payroll deduction donations through government employees. And so what happened was, I never forget, I met a brother whose last name was Holland. I met him. He said, "You're not fronting for nobody, are you?" I said, "No, brother, we're not fronting for nobody." I said, "This is us. You know, this is what we do." He said, "Well, what you need?" He said, "What I need?" I said, "I tell you what I'd like to be able to have." I said, "I'd like to be able to raise $100,000. He said, "Well, we can do better than that." So, you know, we had looked at how we was going to raise this at the time, like $130,000+, closer, maybe about 150. And before the ink could dry on the paper, along came Hurricane Katrina, the worst catastrophe in the history of this country in terms of hurricanes. Wiped the city of New Orleans out. I mean, wiped the city of New Orleans out. They're still recovering from that disaster. So we packed up, you know, decided we needed to roll on back up on the East Coast. And what happened was we got together with this was a church there in New Orleans. I mean, in Baton Rouge, where we went and stayed, because we stayed in Baton Rouge for a couple of nights. at the shelter that they had there. They had a special needs shelter, and so our daughter was able to stay there. Her and my wife, who was her caregiver, and me and my grandson was able to stay with the church in their shelter. And so things were coming along pretty good, and then it came time for us to fly up out of there. Mm-hmm. So we flew out of there. We moved back to the Maryland area. We moved into the Owens Mill area. And so living in Owens Mills, we happened to get discovered by a young lady by the name of Anita Harper Winky, who had what was called the Ad Wins Foundation. And she helped us be able to get a house in the city of Rocky Mount, North Carolina, which is the city that she was born in, and they grew up in. And, she was touched by our story because we didn't get no FEMA money. We got 2 checks from FEMA. That was it. I can't say we didn't get any FEMA money, but we got 2 checks from FEMA. That's what we got. Check for $2,000 and another check for $2,000. And, there was a lot of things that was going on for people all across the country who were Hurricane Katrina evacuees that received a whole lot more than what we did. Uh-huh. And so she helped us find a house. We moved into that house, and we stayed in North Carolina. Oh, boy, we stayed in North Carolina from 2008 to 2000. Well, my wife came back up here because her mother has dementia. She came back up to help her mother, and I came back up here last year to help my wife with, being a caregiver for her mom and dealing with all of that. And then we got introduced to the National Black Unity News through old friend and confidant, Mr. David Murphy. And so that's sort of the short side of the story. I mean, there's a lot more detail I could put into it, but that's sort of our testimony. And the thing is that one of the things that we've always wanted to do was to be in a position to be able to help struggling black nonprofits with being able to raise money that can enable them to carry out their mission. And so, that's part of what we're dealing with right now. We're involved with a program called the Vortex, which is helping people save on their travel and their vacations. And we have a new campaign with our corporate company, Surge 365, called Healing Nations with Vacations. All right. So that's where we're at. That's what we're doing. And, hey, just glad to be able to put this podcast together and be able to just get that information out here to people. And I just wanted to thank the brothers for giving me time to be able to share my story, even though it got chopped up a bit.
Oh.
If you're looking for a reliable, professional, and affordable travel agent, well, you've come to the right place. We're proud to be the top local travel agency, and we've committed to creating satisfied customers and ensuring that your trip is a smooth one. Whether you need airfare, hotel reservations, transportation, or excursion planning, we can do it all. Call or email one of our friendly staff now to start planning your next vacation.
Okay, fantastic. Like I say, through the ashes, like my brother Bill say, we weathered some storms. And like I say, we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but I do know one thing. If you've been on the battlefield long enough, like I say, you've been there and done that. And so, it's never easy going through. But you do know, like I said, as I go back over my life, I have a saying. It's not my saying, but they say, this too shall pass. Something going to give, if we don't faint not. But we're coming to the top of the hour. And but I just want to share this to the listening audience. Now, I'm going to open up these lines. And if anybody else want to chime in, I see several other people online, and they kind of muted out. And if you want to share some information with us, you can speak now, and I'm trying to unmute some of these people. And because some of the people got their own self muted out. And so if you want to speak, unmute yourself, *6. And if you want to chime in on the conversation, you're welcome to do so. And so,
this is Sharia.
How you doing, Sharia?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. And
Hey, Sharia, how you doing?
I'm good.
That's good. This is Bill Gooden.
Hello. Y'all gave some powerful testimony.
Well,
Okay,
and
well,
guess what?
That. Thank
And
you.
guess what else? And Sharia got a powerful testimony. Tell who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
So I am the author of God Ain't Done With Me Yet, Uniquely Blessed, which details the journey of a miracle baby who was myself, who wore 1 pound and 11 ounces at birth, tiny as a cricket that could fit in a shoebox. I talk about being blind, going through public schools, overcoming many challenges, from family strife to depression, setbacks. But lo and behold, I'm able to bounce back to my vibrant self, overcoming bad relationships, single parenthood, you name it, I've done it. My second book is I Decided to Make Jesus My Choice, Praise and Devotions, which is a devotion that provides strength and wisdom. And while shedding the good news of Jesus, it encourages the believer to enhance their spiritual growth and encourages the non-believer to get to know Christ. I have T-shirts that says God Ain't Done With Me Yet, A Heart with Wings, and Uniquely Blessed. And I share all of this because I want others to be blessed through my testimony, because you never know what someone else has gone through and how your testimony can be a blessing to others to get them through the things that they've gone through. I've also am the niece of Rico, who is the founder of God's Given Hands, which is my passion. So I help him a lot with feeding the homeless every third Sunday and fourth Monday. And my website is https://uniquelyblessed1.com.
Say that one more time, please.
https://uniquelyblessed1.com. And I've also wrote an article in the issue that came out in the National Black Unity News. And I also was on the Finance Hour with Mr. Randall to share my testimony.
Well, again, Sharita, thank you for your input. And you know, I think you are one powerful young lady, because no matter what happens to you in your life, you found a way to press on, just like the rest of the callers on here that had shared that information with us. See, it just goes to show you life, and like I said before, in life, there always will be challenges. If it's not happening to you personally, it's going to happen around you. And so, you know, prepare yourself, you know, because like I said, there is always hope if you know where to look for, or whom to look to. And like I say, God has always put people, especially, I can't speak for nobody else, but around me, that has always had people, like I say, who have been through some things, and they live to tell about it. And brother Hector, like I say, you know, again, brother, I appreciate you for being on the call this evening, and our new co-host, because I see good things happening for you in the future and with us, you know, working with us. And thus far, now you just met a couple of you know, our participants. Matter of fact, brother Bill Gooden is the editor-in-chief of the National Black Unity News. Brother Satavi is editor, national editor in the travel section in our publication. And so the National Black Unity News is, like I said, is a publication that is circulated nationwide. And I like to say, and you know, it's documented that we're the #1 nationwide black newspaper in the country. But that's not to be tooting our horn or anything like that. It's this. It's a sad note, because we own less than 1% of the media, so we have a small voice. And see, and this is one of the reasons why we do this podcast, because it's still it's a voice, and you never know You never know who will be listening in, because, like I say, tomorrow when we blast this thing all throughout the nation, because this podcast is being recorded. And Brother Hector, now that you have met some of the people that's on the line already, and like I said, you just recently went through some things, what is your take on some of the testimonies and how you view that personal?
Okay, so how do I view this personally? It's amazing to hear the testimonies and the all of the success that's been going down. I'm sorry for the loss of the gentleman who lost his wife, I believe. But the thing is that you're still pressing on, you're still going, and that helps me to keep going, because even though we may lost some things, it's a gain in a sense, because we gained something out of every loss. We have the memories, we have what it takes to keep moving, and God sets us up with people again to give us that sharpening that we need. So all of these testimonies today, I want to thank you all. I appreciate the testimonies. It really helped me out, and it is giving me the encouragement to continue to move forward. And like I said, to help everybody. At the end of the day, it's about sharpening each other.
Okay. If anybody else want to chime in, just speak up, and if not, we will just continue on. I just heard somebody. Somebody want to say something? Okay. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, is this. Like I say, we presented some things to you that, like I said, in our personal lives, but now speaking on a collective basis, us as a people, like I say, the nation is in trouble. This nation is in trouble. And from the leadership all the way down. But our people, black people, melanated people, people with the roots out of Africa, us, people that look like this, is going through some serious trauma. Here in Baltimore, for the last 5 years, we had 300 plus murders. But I can't even begin to count how many people that were shot, hurt, maimed, and whatever. How many people were burglarized. Just so much trauma going on. And like with the National Black Unity News, we like to be solution-oriented. And so that's one of the reasons why my brother Bill Gooden and I, we published the National Black Unity News, because it's solution-oriented. We have a host of people in this publication that bring out information by us and for us. And our goal is to give information out to our people that can enhance their quality of life. And with that being said, now the National Black Unity is just a tool. It's just one tool in the arsenal that, because there's so many things that need to be done in our community. So with that being said, I'm going to open up the line for discussion is, what do y'all think that we should do to uplift our people, not only ourselves, but our people? What kind of ideas that you may have that could benefit us as a people? Anybody can jump in on this.
Well, I'm going to just say this, because I have to get ready to get off in a couple minutes. But I'm going to just say this. First and foremost, I just want to thank everybody. So when we say what kind of solutions, I always say it's not no one solution to get us from where we at, because it takes a lot of things. But our main thing is that we have to recognize that we had to be able to unify with each other, because everybody got something to bring. You know what I'm saying? But, we have to have it in terms of a real unity. So, like, if we know somebody within our circle that's got a restaurant, and we decide we have to go to a restaurant, then we have to go to that person's restaurant, because we need to help to empower them, which means that their revenue will become larger so they can even hire another person.
That's
so
right.
we have to really start doing business with one another on a serious basis, at least within our circles. And then we have to expand our circles out and bring other people in to do business with us, and
That's
we
right.
doing business with them. And I think that we're going to start to grow ourselves like that. And I'm going to just pause on this, man, because there's a lot to say in such a short time. So I'm going to believe in two things. I believe in the Creator. We don't know what's going to happen in the world, because the world is in a bad stage. But at the same time, all of us have a responsibility to try to make the world a better place as long as we're here and while the world is here. So I think that's the challenge.
All right, thank you, sir. All right. Brother Satari, what do you have to say on that subject matter?
Yeah, I mean, I echo the same thing that Bill said, because one of the things we talk about in Kawaida is and if people want to know what the philosophy of Kawhida is, that is the philosophy that was created by Dr. Maulana Karenga, the creator of Kwanzaa. One of the things that we talk about is to help bring out the greatest good and let no good go undone. So, the thing is, we should always be searching for what is the greatest good and how can we make that good even better. Because it's easy to talk about what's not right and what's wrong, and as my father would say, who shot John at 9 o'clock last night, as opposed to who helped the little old lady across the street with her groceries, who helped a person find a way out of a situation that they was dealing with. So, the thing is, again, is making sure that we rally around helping find the greatest good and make sure that no good is left undone.
All right. Brother Hector, what do you think we should do as, solution-oriented information that you want to share?
Well, again, just getting educated in everything that we can get our hands on, learning about what it takes to just send that message. Because at the end of the day, the Bible talks about my people perish because of the lack of knowledge. So it's just educating ourselves, making sure that whatever kind of information that I can get, that I'm able to pass that information along to you. It is all about spreading that word. Again, getting educated, number one. Don't be afraid to get your hands on information, because information is power. And once we get that, we just share that knowledge. Again, as iron sharpens iron, so does a brother, sharpen another brother.
Okay. With that being said, speaking about brothers, I got Bill before Bill leaves here. Is this? Bill Gooden, he is the actual founder of a group called Black Men Unifying Black Men. He brought 5 other brothers in with us, and we are the core members. And we have a thing where we give a breakfast every first Saturday every month, and I would like to invite you, Hector, to our next breakfast if you're available, and help put the word out. Bill, elaborate. Yeah, okay. Bill, elaborate a little bit on our breakfasts and why where you got that idea from.
Well, first and foremost, like Dave said, we've been out there a long time, so, you do a lot of different things. And my thing have always been geared towards unity. When we had an organization called Unity for Action, that's my thing. I just think that, it's power in terms of bringing people together. So, I guess one day it was just the whole thing in terms of having discussions with other people and going to different kind of meetings. So I said, well, maybe we need to just have a meeting with all black men, and we need to come together on a regular basis just to start breaking bread and start trying to at least meet each other and have relationships, because ultimately, personally, within my everything I believe in is that we're going to either be saved through the Creator or either we have to save ourselves. And when I say save ourselves, black men have to have a real position to turn this thing around for us. So it was really just to bring us together on a constant basis. And thank God, Dave, God has blessed us that, we into the 5th year, haven't missed a month yet. And we have brought thousands of black men and boys together, so that we can be introduced to each other. And a lot of different things have happened through people meeting one another. That's so, right. Again, so it's the first Saturday of every month from 10 to 12. And as Dave said, Hector, we sure would like for you to come and, have that experience to, network with lots of other black men. And so that's the whole reason. That's the vision behind it.
Okay, and guess what else? See, this is what you say. See, when Bill had that exception, we never knew this is not going to be our 58th breakfast. I think it's coming up. 58 consecutive breakfasts, and a lot of things that came out. Even the National Black Unity News came from out of that exception. And not only that, there's a bunch of brothers they just finished walking, I think, around the city tonight. Hundreds of them. Right. And Dr. Andre Buckley, who's heading that thing, is one of the core members of Black Men Unifying Black Men. There was another organization called Kioba and everything else. It is a spinoff from Black Men Unifying Black. There's so many businesses and organizations that took that concept. And people used to ask us, what are y'all doing? What's y'all agenda? Bill just told you that just for black men to come together to meet one another, get to know one another. And out of that concept, a lot of things have taken place out of there. A lot of things. People have met one another they never met before. Businesses have spurred up from it. Organizations has kicking off from it. And see, like I say, that's the solution oriented because, see, ladies and gentlemen, is this. You never know. First of all, you just have to take some action. You just can't just think, talk about it. You have to be about it. And because Bill took that action, right now we're doing this podcast. This is a spinoff of it. And so, so it's a lot of things that when you put your finger into the ocean, you alter that entire ocean. That one little dip, you change the whole complex of the ocean.
Like and other cities have also, we know of in Philadelphia and supposedly Atlanta. I mean, I don't know about Atlanta, but we know about Philly. Right. So other people have took the concept, and if you pay attention to Facebook and social media, then over the last 2 years, I've seen a whole lot of people doing things around black men.
That's right.
So, I mean, so you always just thank God, man, that, for whatever we could spearhead or whatever you help to create. So I would just like to think that, a lot of other things have started because of what we started.
And on the same note, I'm getting the feedback, but in any case, on that same note, ladies and gentlemen, is this. See, Bill, I'm just using him as an example. He could have just kept that concept and say, well, I'm just do for me and myself, survive for myself. But see, God has always raised up a group of remnant of people that have a heart for the people. And me and Bill had a discussion early this morning. See, it's not about money. He does it from heart. He don't get paid from doing this kind of stuff. This is just stuff come out of his time, effort, and stuff. And the same thing with Brother Satavi. When I first met him and his wife had opened up their homes to children, and I was so impressed with them. Because they had dedicated their lives to children, and they was not getting funding from all of these different people. They got a little bit here and there, but they took whatever they had and shared with their children. They even helped raise some of my 2 children, which they and things. And I've seen the struggle. So where I sit at, I see so many powerful people doing so many wonderful things. But we have to keep in mind that even though we're doing wonderful and great things, and a lot of us have went through the route where we expect government and certain kind of organization to fund us, but you have to understand. But when you get funded, there's nothing wrong with it. Do what you have to do to survive, but there's strings attached when you go that route.
That's right. There's always strings attached.
That's right. And on the other thing is this. They have nothing I can recall. They say nobody's coming to save us right now. Only God can save us. But there's no other group or race of people coming to save the black man. Matter of fact, people are using the black man for consumerism. That's what we're used for. That's the only thing they see good from us. Like I tell people all the time, I'm going to keep on saying, why do you think they set up shops in our neighborhoods? The ghetto, as they call it. And set their businesses up.
People got to wake up. People definitely got to wake up. I mean, especially our young people. There's got to be an outlet where we can reach our young people. Because I work at the MTA, I go and I see so many young people with blinders on, not being open to what's really going on out here in the world. I mean, this is our future, and we definitely got to do something about it.
Yeah. Well, we can do something, especially, Bill will tell you this too, so was Satavi. Brother Hector, sometimes when things, I know, you and I spoke, but sometimes when something is on your heart, now, I believe that's God telling you you need to do something about that, and because like I say, because if that thing is penetrating your psyche, if it's penetrating your heart, and if it's penetrating your spirit, then God is trying to tell you something. And like I said, you never know. Just like I said, I'll use Bill again as an example. When he came with the concept of black men unifying black women, he had no idea that all of this stuff would have taken place these 4 or 5 years later and still going forth, that, because he took action. Brother Satavi. And this brother had touched so many children. and we never know the outcome. Brother Satavi, I want you to tell a quick story, real quick story about one day you was walking down the street and you thought you was about to be robbed. Just elaborate on that a little bit.
Yes, sir. I was walking down the street in Emerson Village area, or Rhino Heights area to be specific, and as I was getting close up to this young man, he didn't recognize me from a distance. I seen him pull his hood up, and I seen him drop his hand down in his dip, and then, you know, when we got close to each other, like eye to eye, I recognized him. I said, and, you know, I said, Antonio. I said, what you about to do, rob me? No, Mr. Jahi, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't rob you. You one of the good guys. I said, well, you was going to rob somebody. I said, what you got down in your dip? So I reached down in his dip. He had a gun. And, you know, I took the gun from him. I said, man, look, you don't need this. I said, because all it's going to do is get you in trouble. And he was like, yeah, you right, Mr. Jahi. You right.
You saved that man's life that night. Anything could have happened.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
Anything could have happened.
And not on top of that, the life he saved may have been his own.
Exactly. Plus, I'm going to say this last thing, man. I have to get ready to go, but since you were talking about satire, it's just like, you know, I said, you never know who you touch. Because I remember we were having breakfast one time, and we had Sandy McCurry in terms of the speaker. And, you know, when he was speaking, he just talked about Brother Satari and his wife in terms of how he touched his life. You know, but I'm just saying, so, you know, years later, this young man is a senator, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, when Satari and him was back then, and he was a young boy, he had no idea the influence or the impact that you would have on somebody else later on in life. So, you know, I mean, all of us, man, have to continue to do what we think we can do and what God, you know, because like I always tell David, you know, for me, my prayer is always this, man. I mean, you want money because you need money, but my prayer has always been this. I just want to fulfill my purpose that God gave me on this earth. And if I can do that, I'm okay.
All right.
Wow, you know, just thinking about that, you know, everybody's here for a purpose. I hear people all the time. They're like, well, what on earth am I here for? And the truth of the matter is, what you're here for, you're here to enlighten everybody else. Like I said, we're all brothers and sisters one to another. You're not alone. And I want everybody out there to know that you are not alone. There is help. The thing is, just like when I was in my situation, I mean, I could have reached out to somebody, but the thing that stopped me, and I'm going to tell you, the thing that stopped me was I was afraid of the opinions of other people. And a lot of people don't want to speak out with issues because they're afraid of how other people are going to judge them. They're afraid. In the church, out in the community, we got people that judge.
Well,
I'm just being honest.
You know what? That should be the topic for next week.
And guess what? I concur, because you know when you just said that, the opinions of other people?
Right.
Yes, sir.
The majority of my life was messed up because of my thoughts of opinions of other people. That thing sent me in such a whirlwind, man, that I could have done so many wonderful and great things, but because the opinions of other people, man, stopped me dead in my tracks. And so we definitely got to talk about that. So, you know.
And I will have to sign up. I have to make a phone call.
All right, sir.
All right, everybody. All right.
And one of the things is I'm not trying to put a sting on certain groups of people, but it's always an individual problem. But again, you know, I thank God for my pastor, my church family, those people who I did confine into eventually, and they helped me through it. And everybody's not like that. But again, the majority of people who are afraid to reach out is because of the simple fact that they're afraid that they're going to get judged.
Mm-hmm. And the Bible has say something about being judged. You shouldn't judge anybody unless you be judged, you know. And but nevertheless, but you know, when you know, getting back to original, when you started off saying, you know, everybody has a gift or a talent or everybody has a purpose in life, you know.
Right.
And you know, and I recall, I may be wrong, but this is my interpretation. This is what I heard, and it made sense to me. That even before a woman was put on this earth, the first thing God did, before he did a lot of other things, God spoke to man. He put him in the garden, they say. And he spoke to man. He told man to cultivate the garden. He told him to subdue it.
That's right.
He said multiply it.
Right.
And my take on that, to me personally, what God was saying, that each and every one of us is a God. Each one of us, if we cultivate those gifts, those things that's in our garden, that means our gifts and talents. If God puts something in, if you're a reader or something in there, you like to dance or you like to do that, those are the gifts that you, because everybody has a measure of gifts and talents.
Correct.
These are the things. If we cultivate these gifts, if we take those things and multiply them and study those gifts, and your gifts will make a way for you.
It will.
And I'm saying this to you. You know, everybody can make contributions to the world. You're gonna make it one way or the other. You're going to have an impact,
either good or bad.
That's right. And speaking on that, I'd love to share this story because I got my brother on here now, and I think our listeners need to hear because this is new to us. We got a free month in closing. I'm going to share, you know, we got a couple of minutes, but I'm going to share this story about my brother Satawi and I. Is this. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, we thank each and everybody who's on this call today. But you do have an impact. You do have a testimony, may it good or bad. That's what life is all about. But in closing, several years ago, many years ago, Brother Satawi and I put on this event at this recreation center up in Emersonville in Mary Rodman. And make a long story short, there was Senator Barbara Robinson. That's before she was just a business person at the time. This is 25, 30 years ago sometime. But we gave her the award, and we spoke, the three of us. Brother Satawi himself cooked the dinner. And the three of us spoke. And this young lady, and Barbara Robinson was doing a radio show at Morgan State University every first Tuesday. And I had a newspaper called The Informer at the time. And I would be the guest on every first Tuesday of the month. And a young lady called in and said, Mr. Murphy, Miss Robinson, you may not know who I am, but she said, several years ago, I was walking up the street and somebody invited me into this place and gave me a dinner, and they spoke some powerful words to me. She said, at that time, I was walking up the street, I was contemplating suicide. And she said, I don't know what, maybe Satawi said something at that meeting, or maybe I said something, or maybe Senator Robinson said something. But she just went on to say that she had just graduated from college. Now, like I say, now the words that words are so powerful. Now, I don't know who spoke the words, but I do know one that she said, we saved her life. The words that we shared with saved her life. Now, we don't know the impact that she may have on somebody else, paying it forward. But I do know this. It taught me that day.
Amen.
That day, it taught me that day that no matter what you say or who you say it to, and even a smile sometimes, just a handshake, man, just give somebody a hand up sometimes. You know, just work with people, and you never know the impact that you have on that person's life.
That's right.
And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that this podcast have an impact on your life. And come back every Monday at 7:30. This is just a trial run. We're just getting this thing started. There's going to be bumps and bruises along the way, but our hearts are in the right place. Our intentions are in the right place, and we are here for you. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you, Brother Satawi, as always, soldier in arms, for your input, sir. And in closing, sir, I want you to give us some information. Just share your contact information so people can get in contact with you.
Yes, sir. People can reach me at 252-458-3712, or they can go to our website, www.movementsunlimited.net. That's MOVEMENTSUNLIMITED.net.
All right.
That's how people can contact us.
All right, Brother Hector, you want to give us your contact information?
Yes, sir. This is Henri Hector. Pretty much you can reach me on my website. It's at ONRIHECTOR.com, HenriHector.com. I have a business phone you can reach. It's all on the website. If you want to email me, you can reach out to me at HenriHector6@gmail.com. You can reach me on Facebook, Henri Hector, and Instagram. just continue to check me out. All my updates are going to be on the website. As soon as I finish with this show, it'll be posted on the website. You can reach me there. Thank you.
All right, and this is yours truly, David Murphy, publisher, the National Black Unity News. And I can be reached at 443-455-2373. And our website is TNBUN.com. That's the National Black Unity News.com, abbreviation TNBUN.com. And our nationwide Black Business Directory is TNBUNdirectory.com. Call me at 443-455-2373. Ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for your participation. Come back the same place, same time next week, 7:30. And I appreciate my co-host, Brother Satari Jaheed, Brother Andre Hector. With that being said, good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Good night.
Good night, David. Good night, Henri.
Greeting from the National Black Unity News. This is a reminder of our podcast on Mondays evenings at 7:30 p.m. Join us for a powerful conversation with my co-hosts, Satari Jaheed and Andre Hector. We will bring forth information for us and by us. And if you're a business owner, you need to participate with us. If you're a concerned citizen, you need to participate. Join us every Monday night at 7:30 p.m.